buhaioli. Oh, oggi buhaioli giornata d'ocche. Giornata d'oro, anzi oserei dire. Cioè, ci rendiamo conto di quante cose stiamo facendo. Quante cose stanno uscendo oggi. È uscito per prima cosa il podcast e finita sta live dovete andare a recuperare perché è una cosa stupenda. Abbiamo introdotto, ragazzi, esatto. Buhaioli, purtroppo non sono morto. Purtroppo per voi non sono morto. Un attimo perché devo capire se la mia voce si sente o meno, quindi... Buhaioli. Ok, la mia voce si sente. Zitto. Buono. I believe that I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you. Oh, how exciting. What is it? You shall have to wait and see, Mr. Sato. Until later, then. Ah, ok, quindi in sostanza abbiamo già fatto ogni bene. Ora, qui non ci si può andare, unfortunately. Ah, già. Spostiamoci vicino al suit. Oh no, caricamento. Poi è già pomeriggio, è 1, siamo partiti ed era mattina. Ah, Susato, I'm Brenda, coming. Good afternoon, Iris. Thank you so much for breakfast this morning. Oh, don't mention it. Goodness, look at the time already. Busy as always. I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening. Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you? Oh yes. After all, we have a special guest joining us. Guess who it is? Go on. Oh, you'll never guess. Look at those little eyes of hers shining. Oh dear. It is awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it? It's skinny. Isn't that exciting? Oh, what a surprise. Yes, that's a wonderful news. Wow. Iris seems overjoyed at the idea. I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional. Oh, yes, that sounds like fun. I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. Naruhodo? By the way, Iris, what's Mr. Shom's up to? Hardly. Oh. He's been here ever since he got back. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. I beg that you won't speak to me. Sorry? I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here. I don't know how to respond to that. I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely obvious to everything. I see. Really? He behaves like a child sometimes, Harley does. Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, didn't he? Yes, except that Harley, that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come think of it, I wonder where her real parents are. What's the matter, Bruno? You have such a funny look on your face. Oh, no, it's nothing. I know, what is it? Why that this girl lives here with Miss Sholmes? You're wondering, am I right? How? How did you? Oh, Bruno. I can read it, I can read you like a book. This girl is dangerous. Don't worry, you can ask me everything, I don't mind. Voglio un attimo esaminare ciò perché è bellissimo. So, Mr. Sholmes, what are you engrossed in? Did you not hear? I am not here! Of course you're not. I cannot think what the whole bed of the ocean is not one solid mess of oysters, so prolific the creature seems. Ah, He won't even turn around and look at me. It's just... it's best just to leave him alone when he's one of his moves like this. Yes, I can say that. Aspetta, quindi ora il violino, eccolo qua. Now, this is really Mr. Sholmes' faithful performing partner then. The Stradivar, the Strepicar, the Strepfishus. No, it's not good, it's gone. The virtuoso's violin that they found in the pawnbrokers and managed to buy for next to nothing. After all we went through to get it back, he's just cast aside in that chair. I was looking forward to hearing that beautiful sound of it makes when Mr. Sholmes plays it. It does look rather sorry for itself there, doesn't it? Although, at least one guy hasn't attacked it yet. Even if his eyes are saying it's the only matter of time. So, by Ginny, you mean Miss Lestrade, the young woman from a gilded craze of 2 months ago, right? Yes, who also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Although, after that trial, I invited her back here, and we went and we had dinner together. And we're the best friends. Oh, what a lovely tale. Yes. Now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can. Oh. And I chase after her down the back alleys. Interesting idea of friendship. Beh, in effetti. And then I let her have the latest color of smoke grenade I've developed. Oh. There's so many beautiful colors in the world. Ginny wants me to make a whole rainbow. I suppose this means you've let Miss Lestrade keep the smoke grenade launcher, have you? Yes, that's right. I got bored of it anyway. Harley once always reacts the same way when I shoot him with it now. Poor Harley. Oh, I can't wait Ginny to arrive. It's been too long since she last came over. I'm so excited. I just hope she doesn't actually come. Un attimo, perché voglio un attimo spostarmi per vedere se di qua è cambiato qualche cosa, ma spero di no. Esatto, via, meno male, si gode. Arriviamo ai sodo. I'm sure you have been wondering why it is that I live here with Harley, haven't you? Well, it has crossed my mind. That and where are your real parents? My mommy and daddy aren't with me anymore. Ah, sono morti, vabbè, scontato. Mommy passed away when I was born. And around the same time my father, well, he had to give her away land because one of those cases and he and Harley were working on. Oh, wait a minute. Did you say he and Harley? Yes. Daddy and Harley were always solving mysterious cases together. She didn't mention that before. He wrote them all up in his diaries. That's what's it's the metal chest over there. Really? He recorded them all? So, do you mean it's true, Mr. Sholmes? Really, did have a partner with whom he tackles some of his most taxing cases? Oh yes, I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it? Ma scusate, ma quanti anni c'ha Sholmes? 34. E noi? Quanti anni abbiamo? Vabbè. Quindi aveva 24 anni quando è nata lei. Vabbè, bella. Oh. Yes, I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it? So, Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father? Exactly! Harley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest. But that only made me want to look even more. So I opened it up and found your father's memories. Yes. So I asked Harley, who wrote this? He nearly fell off this chair. Ma aspetta, ma lei come fa di cognome? Wilson. Non è che la Watson. Come fa di cognome Watson? Watson. A parte mi sa che è il cognome. Dottor Watson. James Dewey Watson, esatto, è il cognome. Non c'entra, cioè, boh. Sarà, in realtà credo lei. In teoria, se lui si chiamasse Sherlock Holmes, credo che lei tipo faccia Iris Watson, forse, invece Iris Wilson. Wilson. Vabbè, via. But then he told me, that's when I found out the author of all these accounts was my father. So Iris' father was Mr. Sholmes' partner. I've practically lived with Harley of my life. I was tiny when he took me in. So it came as quite a shock when Harley told me he wasn't really my daddy, I mean. It must have done. I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you. And at such a young age. Harley said it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh. Well, having lived with Harley all these years, you might say that his ways have rubbed off on me. There are some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes. Right. Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, actually. And I did always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories. Well, no, Harley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he solves the case, it all but vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day, it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the cases he just solved. So the very next day, he gathered together all the people he involved and proceeded to solve the case again. It was quite a shock for everyone. You can't say that again. You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. That is Dr. John H. Wilson. Mentre invece lui mi si chiamava James... Dai, ce l'avevo prima, Watson. Ah no, John H. Watson. John H. Wilson. No. Cioè in sostanza... No. Ganzo. Ganzissima sta cosa, ragazzi. Bellino.
I learned from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see.
Bellino.
That's what prompted me to study and study so that I could earn a doctorate as well.
Harry's father, who went to some distant land. And he's a doctor named by the name of John H. Wilson. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naru. No. 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 Ma che stiamo scherzando? Oddio. No. No. Sto impazzendo, ragazzi. No, ragazzi. No. Oddio. Oddio. John H. Wilson. E quello è morto nel primo caso. Da quell'inglesaccia. Cazzo. Oddio. No. No. No, ragazzi. Mi sto... Porca troia. That's right! Visiting the professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. And the man who, the most bizarre of circumstances, lost his life just before we left Japan. Mr. Sato. Yes, yes. Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time. I think that would be for the best. Porca puttana. Haha, my dear fellows! How good to see you! Mr. Jones! Why ever did you not make your presents known to me before? Ha! Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you? We have been with you for the most of the day. Goodness, really? Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unskated? My violin? Whatever are you talking about, dear madame? Oh, never mind that now. I have something more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellow... Ah. Oh, another music box disc. Not another disc, Mr. Sato. This is one Gregson demanded we had over his evidence. Mr. McGilded disc. Oh my! Then, oh, what the fuck is it doing here? You know, at the time, Mr. Naruto, I think that's... Though I heard an undeniable transfer detection. I may well be even more adept at larceny. Oh, that wouldn't be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Runa could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught. Right. Plus, Susie has such a beautiful handwriting. She could write our menacing crime notifications. Yes, I'd be delighted. I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, I think. Poverina. Poverina, madonna mia. Ma che succede se io facessi di questo? I must stop you there, Mr. Naruto. Unofficial I may be, but I am nevertheless a professional. I couldn't examine such a humdrum item for anything less than £5. Oh, no, I didn't really want you to examine that. I just want to ask if, my dear fellow, as a professional consulting detective, I couldn't possibly venture an opinion for anything less than £5.
Are you perhaps hoping to purchase a new telescope in the near future, Mr. Sholmes?
Indeed I am. As you know, it has long been an ambition of mine to discover new stars and name for myself. Because clearly, your earthly stardom isn't enough.
Perfetto, non posso mostrargli nulla.
No, vabbè, rip.
Magnus McCarthy, not anymore expected it to hear against the soon.
Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. What is the curse of the Reaper? No one knows still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred evidence remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence at the trial, the newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case. The murder of the brickmaster, the thrice-fired mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was... E se lui fosse ancora vivo? Lo mettiamo da parte questa cosa qui. Poi vi dirò, ve l'avrò detto, sono stato un coglione a pensare ciò. I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Jackson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that some uncompromising attitude it is precisely why I always carry some of this. That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. You're an only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. I'd be taking days, whatever it is, of McGilded's down to the yard. Thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh yes, of course. Lo voglio far tipo italianizzato lui. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes. Yes, you did, but I still don't understand. It was precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action.
I press the disc into a pair of bars like this. That's amazing. The disc and the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. And that's the caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant in melting. The result of a precisely controlled solution.
How extraordinary!
Carrying a pair of these on one person's frequently proves very useful indeed. Take a house of key, for example. A simple press and its unique forms is duplicated. I can enter in anyone's property at will. And without a high sucrose nourishment. Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I was most curious to know what the manner of the music would issue from the disc when played.
Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes. What does this disc play?
Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea? None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of the music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not.
Goodness, you don't know, you know?
Via, si gode.
Inside the music box, there's a special metal piece called comb. And that's what produces the sound. Small protuberances pluck the different teeth in the comb as they rotate in past, making the different notes. The first music boxes were invented to see a rotating cylinder protuberances on it.
Sì, esatto, che quelli conosco anch'io. But over the time, a new type of player was introduced, which uses discs such as this. What a development! The popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe.
Why exactly?
Because the discs are easy to produce and can be intercharged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There are now you can mi si roba inutile.
It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music, even when no performer is present.
But it's the very success of the invention that makes we now presented with an unsurmountable problem.
What do you mean?
As you may imagine, the constructions of the firm's music box does not match that of another, and we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable.
I see.
So that's why, naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have in my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe.
Every single one? That's hardly for you. Always taking things too far.
But my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. But surely the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes, this is certainly true, but in the worst case, I shall just ask to vacate the attic room. What? Well, it is time I'd start getting things ready for dinner, I think. Ginny will be here before long. Thank you, Iris. Oh, well, must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson for you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with a pawnbroker. Yes, you may be right. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windybank said before. He said that he had manuscript of Iris in his phone, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mysteries lies dormant in my storeroom. Were his words, I believe. Huh? So you heard about it, did you? I expect you were incensed as I was. Oh, yes. The idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Windybank's storeroom, gathering dust. My dear madam, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault. And what about the Stradivarius Harley? What is that safe and secure? Well, there may be occasional mix-up. Case caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now. Do you have any idea of how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Harley? Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of Baskervilles. I should love to read it. Tra? Ah! What's going on here? Why does feel like an icy chill just swept through this room? Susie, what did you just say? You said the Hound of Baskervilles. But how could you know the full title? Well, that's because Mr. Sato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course. But Reno, the Hound of the Baskervilles has never been published. Susato, che cazzo dici? What? When I showed Harley the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. È arrivato il momento, ragazzi, della pausa assorbente. Venite con me, ragazzi. Ci rechiamo tutti insieme nella zona. Alexa, imposta un timer di 10 minuti.
10 minuti, a partire da ora.
Io non ho capito per quale. Alexa, stop. Io non ho capito sinceramente per quale motivo la mia lavatrice ha il timing sbalzato. Però vabbè.
Riprendiamo. Lo lasciamo tra 10 minuti, ragazzi. Ci sarà la pausa assorbente con S.
That's why he said he'd keep it safe until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see.
So that's why the manuscript is at Wendy Banks?
And yet, how could Susie know its title? Well, Harley, what's going on?
What is it, Mr. Sholmes? It would appear our guest has arrived. Cazzo. Miss Lestrade.
This was a bad idea. I know I weren't welcome.
No! Mi sono appena accorto che la stessa voce che faccio a Gina è la stessa di Iris.
This was a bad idea. And I knew I weren't welcome. I'm going.
No, wait, Miss Lestrade! We've been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris? Che cazzo sta succedendo?
Oh yes! Just wait there, Guinea. We'll have everything ready as a jiffy. Come along, Susie.
Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Miss Lestrade. Please, make yourself at home. Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. What say you to some Mendelssohn? I won't take no for an answer. Mendelssohn, it is then. Toce anche il gatto, via, ci sono tutti. Miau. Via, ci sono tutti, razzi, vai. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance is no way meddlesome, and Gina, as we came to call her, thought us all how steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves well into the night. Ma che c'è già un be continued? Ah no, ok, non c'è un be continued. That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it? Oh yes. Ooh.
Iris' cooking was truly divine.
And I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes' violin even now.
Best of all, I bet I could steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court.
Naruhodo-san, could I consult with you about something, I wonder? What's the matter, Sasato-san? It's about the telegram I received. Ah! The one that arrived the first thing this morning, I suppose. I've been summoned. What? Summoned? What do you mean? The telegram was Lord Chief Justice Office. Lord Stronghead asked to see me. The Lord of Chief Justice? When? Tomorrow morning. What? Then we have to start preparing at once. Oh, no, that won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone. No, sta vedi, è una juror. Cazzo. What on earth for? I have no idea.
I suppose I shall find out tomorrow. What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy.
Avanti!
Oh, who could that be, I wonder? Good evening, friends!
Ah, Iris, hello again. Basta!
And Gina too. Yes. Jeannie is going to stay with us tonight. She's going to sleep in with me. Isn't it right, Jeannie? Well, yeah. How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea.
Che bello.
You know, I've learned so much today. Oh, what in particular? All those things Jeannie showed us. Wasn't it wonderful?
Ah, you mean those pickpocketing techniques? We had fun trying them out on each other, didn't we?
I think we awakened a natural talent. I could earn a living from it.
You might be getting ahead of yourself a little there. So, what brings you to our humble quarters at this late hour?
Well, you see, I came to return this.
Wait, what? That's mine!
Oh my, however did you... I told you, didn't I? I have natural talent for it.
Oh yes, I'd forgotten. Iris is literally a child genius.
So anyway, here, you can have it back. Now that I really understand why you wear it, though.
Ah, thank you.
Alright then, good night.
Yes, good night.
So this is your office, is it? What do you think, Ginny? I think with the fancy, with the chances, with a lawyer
Talk about. I suppose Gina looks very pensive over there. Are you alright, Gina?
Chances with a lawyer what lives in a place like this.
Non capisco se siamo ritornati o meno, perché la mia connessione fa altamente schifrare.